Hi there, Crystal Thompson here today doing a 4-card clean and simple tutorial using the Says Stamp December of 2018 card kit. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. To begin, we are going to unbox our Says Stamp December 2018 card kit. This baby is jam-packed. We've got a full-size distress oxides and festive berries. They've included the new and exclusive candy canes wafer thin dies, and this has a candy cane and a bow, of course some sugar, a pack of red sequins, the gorgeous exclusive Christmas cheer 6x8 clear stamp set. We're going to be using almost all of these stamps in our cards, and this thing is huge. It's 6x8. It also includes a pack of watercolor cards and a custom Daniel Smith watercolor card with 4 colors. A pack of the double-sided sheets 6x6 Carta Santa's Workshop. This is super cute and the colors coordinate very nicely. These color combos are so festive and so fun. Also included are 2 custom sheets of stickers, and these are 6x13 Carta Santa's Workshop. You have 3 envelopes, and these come in the metallic Schoolhouse, the metallic white, and the metallic Audrey Blue. Also included are 3 pre-scored, pre-cut Audrey Blue A2 size Says Stamp. We have a Says tag, and we have 3 of full-size cardstocks. We got Nina white, lipstick red, and green leaf. So let's get started. For our first card, we are doing a clean and simple shaker using the candy cane wafer thin dies. To fill the shaker, we're going to be using the festive red sequins including in the kit. Of course, our candy cane wafer thin die, 2 pieces of cardstock, and 1 piece of the lipstick red. And I have trimmed one of the cardstocks to be 1/4 inch smaller. We are also going to be using some foam adhesive, white embossing powder, and embossing and watermark ink. Let's get started. To begin, we are going to die cut 2 of the candy canes, one from the candy cane red, and remove the excess pieces and set aside. Then we're going to place it on the center of our card panel and cut that out. We're going to be using the negative die cut part of this. We're going to place the red onto the center, add tiny little bits of adhesive on the edges to hold it down, and then a little more adhesive on the edge to hold down the acetate. This is going to be the window for our shaker. To create the part of the shaker, I'm going to double up on foam adhesive. Going to cut that roll in the center to make that really tall. Going to add the sequins. Now, to make sure the placement is correct, I know that it's 1/4 inch smaller than my card base. So I'm going to measure 1/4 inch on the MISTI and then place the card base on the corner. And that's how you get your shaker to be straight. Now we're going to heat emboss the sentiment onto the same piece of the lipstick red cardstock. We are going to heat emboss in red. I left a couple of spaces in between the words to allow some space to cut each individual word, as we're going to place these individually on the card base. Once I've cut those, I'm going to add tiny little pieces of foam adhesive onto the back, and we're going to place these. I'm going to begin with the UA for the center, and this allows me to place these correctly and then add the rest of the words. And that does it. This is my first clean and simple shaker. For the second card, we're going to be using the Distress Oxide including in the kit and the stamps from the same kit. This is going to be super clean, super simple, and it allows us to create several of these cards. We're going to be using the Distress Oxide, the sequins, and the stamps. We're going to begin by stamping the largest, then following in size with the snowflakes from the stamp set. We're going to stamp our sentiment and then follow and stamp around the edge, filling in all the spaces with this ink. Because this ink is a bit slow drying, do not touch it. We're going to set it by placing some heat on it, and then it won't rub off. To finish it, we're going to add some of the sequins in between those white spaces. And this is a great, easy, and clean and simple Christmas card. For our third card, we're going to be using a color inspiration by the Carta Santa's Workshop Designer papers. These colors are super pretty, and that red from the Distress Oxides really makes it pop out. For this, we're going to be using the snowflakes and that larger sentiment. We're also going to be using the clear Nuvo drops, the Distress Oxide included in the kit, along with the bow die. We're using several inks, and these colors will match the colors from the pattern paper. We're using the white Nina included in the kit, along with the Audrey Blue, and a piece of paper from the Carta Santa's Workshop Designer papers. To begin, we're going to be using a blue that kind of matches that Audrey Blue. We're going to stamp 2 of the largest snowflakes onto the edge. Don't worry about trying to fill in the entire card, just the outer, because this is the only thing we're going to see. Now I have trimmed a piece of the Nina cardstock 1/2 inch smaller than that card panel. I'm going to be stamping a wreath out of the snowflakes, changing color every so often. My idea was to use every snowflake with every piece of every possible color that I had available that matched that pattern paper. So after I use all the colors that I had, I'm going to come in and switch around the snowflakes and then come back to the darker colors. Again, this is a wreath of snowflakes, so it's going to take a little bit to fill in those spaces. I'm going to leave the Distress Oxide, the Festive berries, for the end so it really pops and it's at the top of my stamping. And there's my wreath. I'm going to heat set it so that Distress Oxide does not rub off. Once that's done, we are going to add the sentiment. We're going to be using the green for the Merry and the darker of the blues for the Christmas, and slightly layer those on top of each other. Now we're going to mat that over our blue. We're going to create the bow out of the pattern paper. I'm going to cut another piece of the bow from one-sided foam and holding this down with sticky tape. And I'm going to place a little bit of flat adhesive onto the pattern paper and place it over the foam. This will raise that foam and make it easier than trying to cut pieces of the roll foam. Using my glitter Nuvo drops, I'm going to add it to the bow and then drops around the wreath. For our final card of this clean and simple Christmas card tutorial, we're going to be using more of the Festive Berries Distress Oxide and actually doing some die cut and coloring of the gorgeous little Santa. We're going to need the stamp set, white embossing powder, embossing ink, a blender, and 2 pieces of Nina. We're going to begin with a piece of Nina that's been cut 2 inches by 5.5, which is going to be the length of our card. We're going to begin with the very top of that Festive Berries. Going to add a really heavy layer on the top and bring it down. Try not to add too much color to the center, and just add the color at the top and bringing it down. Then we're going to mist it with a little bit of water to create that gorgeous effect that only Distress Oxides can do. Once that is dried up, and I've used my heat embossing gun to speed up the process, we're going to place a little bit of the embossing buddy cornstarch stuff to prevent some sticking, because we did get this wet earlier. With our clear embossing ink, we're going to be using the falling snow from the stamp. I'm going to do this in parts so my ink doesn't dry. I'm going to stamp it with clear embossing, cover it with white embossing powder, and heat set. Then repeat the process again on the other pieces. Now that we're done with that, we are going to stamp the sentiment in black ink. I've placed a piece of foam adhesive on the back of our distress blending. We're going to add a little more foam onto the back of the Santa that I had colored, and actually I ended up hand cutting this so it would be really close, really clean. We're going to place this at the bottom. Doing a 4-card clean and simple tutorial using the Says Stamp December of 2018 card kit. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.